Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a Ben Kinney Company presentation. You can reach me at any time on the Twitters at benkinney.com, benkinney.com. And this is going to be a cool call because there's a bunch of content that we've never done before. A lot of no reruns happening today and a lot of really tangible stuff. So I'm excited for you guys all to join me. And I got my friends in the background. We got the Brevity team listening. Abel, Jeff, Kristen, Mikey, Brian, we're all here, ready to rock. Want to let you guys know that live and in person in Seattle, April 19th, we're doing a full day plus dinner plus panelists from all around America event called RE8 Expo. If you're interested in coming to that, reach out to us. Go to re8expo.com. And we're also doing that in Northern California on June 3rd and June 4th in the San Francisco, Sacramento, Pleasanton areas, 2 separate days. So whatever's closest, you guys should come. Now, these webinars are always brought to you by our friends, Happy Grasshopper. He's going to give you a deal, happygrasshopper.com/Ben Kinney. It is the easiest way to work your sphere, the easiest way to get referrals from your people. It's a set it and forget it way to communicate, convert leads, and get referrals to your business. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a few minutes about what's coming new at Brevity. Number one, we launched Brevity Leads. It's exclusive, a couple agents per area. They're averaging 80 to 100 seller leads per month. And if you would like access to Brevity Leads, throw it in the chat box or reach out to Brevity and they'll be sending you the contact information on the call. The Brevity Leads platform uses the Brevity valuation sites to generate you massive amount of listing leads. Now, of course, we have our Brevity tool that allows you to manage your listings, market your listings, communicate with your clients, do all that kind of stuff. But the only exciting thing I want to tell you about is what's coming. The next release of Brevity will come out with our email campaigns. It'll come out with our custom email templates, a lot of the features that we've been talking about for making Brevity more of a full-featured CRM. I'm expecting that very, very soon, very, very soon. I'm talking weeks. And then we'll add the click-to-calls, the dialers, the rest of the features that will include new designs. It'll include a people dashboard where you can click from the people stage and call them, and it'll record your calls, how many times you've done it. It'll record your emails, your text messages, your communications, and your to-dos. And it gives you a brand new personal profile where you can add tags to people. So no longer are people just in your sphere. They can be your family. Or they could be the other side of the family you don't want to reach out to. They could be a builder, it could be a bank, and you can send mass emails, communications, make calls to just people that you've tagged. And there's an unlimited amount of tags that you get to decide about. This call is called Buyers Rock. And to start off with that, I want to bring on my brother from another mother, Brian Gass, to talk to us about something that's been helping our business for the last year. Brian, are you there?
I'm here, Ben. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Brian, why don't you introduce our special guest that's going to be joining us for the call today, and in the background while we go through this content, take it away.
All right, thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. Listen, I had the great fortune a while back to be introduced to a gentleman named Aaron Wittenstein, who I'll let him. He can tell his story, but before I bring him on, I just want to say that he's a tremendous guy, and he has created probably one of the coolest groups on Facebook for agents to be able to kind of go in and post objections and kind of get help on lead gen and objection handling and how to process their business. It is a tremendous community, and I was really, really fortunate to come across Aaron. And so I thought, what a great guy to have on one of Ben's webinars. Is another great guy, and talk about not just buyer leads, but also about his group and some things that he has planned. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Aaron on now. Aaron, are you there?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing?
All right,
Aaron, what is up? Thank you so much for joining us. Your Facebook group is rocking the real estate industry. Tell us the name of it. Tell us how many people are on it, and tell us how people can figure it out and go join it, because it's cool and it's free and it's sharing super good knowledge.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We've been up and running now for 6 months. We are up to 11,300 and change, and it's just I never would have expected this thing, man. The amazing ideas you come up with when a 3-year-old isn't sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning. So you can go to it. The Facebook group name is Lead Gen Scripts and Objections, or you can go to facebook.com/group/objections.
Aaron, you got somebody talking in the background?
Yeah, hang on.
Tell him to shut up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm in with my operations manager here.
Tell operations manager to shut up. It's
Bruno,
time to talk about your
Get out
group.
of the office. All right, Bruno looks very upset right now, but it's okay. He'll live.
Okay,
So,
Facebook.com what?
Facebook.com/group/gotobjections.
What do people learn on Got Objections?
Well, pretty much what it is, it started off, the concept was, what if I go on a listing consultation and somebody says, I only want a 90-day listing? So what we give them is they can come on there and get 40 different responses. But what it's turned into now is really a place where you can do lead generation questions, scripts, objection handling, mindset, time management. It's pretty much a site that you can go to and you can share anything from your successes, the things that are frustrating you. And you pretty much, an average post right now gets about 27 responses, and we get anywhere from, I posted some where we get 150 responses. It's amazing.
Wow. And we can't give the details out, but I know a secret about something that's going on. So without telling us the location or kind of the details, give us a teaser. Tickle me a little bit.
Okay, well, what we are going to be doing now, this is, can I say the week that it's going to be happening? Is that okay?
You can say the month.
The month, okay. It is going to be in August, and we are going to be having the 2015 Got Objections script off. We are going to be pitting 4 mega agents against 4 non-mega agents in a freestyle scripting tournament. It's going to be.
That sounds like 8 Mile, dude.
It's going to be totally 8 Mile. 8 Mile with real estate agents. Can you imagine it?
What do I get if I win?
You get a day with Ben Kinney, right?
Oh, you get a day with Ben Kinney, but also you get a belt. Do you get a belt like Mayweather?
Oh yeah, you get a WWF Got Objections belt. You're going to get street cred. You're going to get to be known as the objection handler of 2015.
Wow, we're going to make sure, Ben, that the person that wins isn't set up against a guy who's injured either. It's going to be a legit win.
we roll out anti-inflammatory shots. So.
Yeah, okay. Aaron, stick on the call with us. We might call on you a little bit. Brian, stick around and let's get this party started.
Excellent. Thanks, brother.
Hey, buyer UVP, unique value proposition. What is it that would make a buyer want to do business with you? The general one is, hey guys, gals, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to help you buy the perfect home in the best location for the least amount of money and in the least amount of time. Answering all the normal needs of buyers, this is your UVP. Now you need to be able to deliver that you can do this for every buyer that you talk to. Now on top of this, there's other frustrations because every other agent in the nation has told them that they can do this. Well, a couple agents, because most agents don't explain their UVP. You need to talk to them about the things that hurt right now. And in an up market, like we are now, with limited inventory, there's some challenges. The first challenge is you need to deliver additional value with your UVP. Additional value would be your ability to negotiate and get an offer accepted even when there's 10 or 20 other offers on the table. You need to be able to explain that and put that up front, because the chances are they worked through some other agent in the past and they're frustrated because they were writing offers but nothing got accepted. Number 2, you got to give them the crack. The crack of real estate, the crack of buyers, what they're addicted to is properties. Because every time they see a property, they drive by it and then it's pending or sold. So you need to talk to them about off-market properties. The fact that you will call through a neighborhood and find them a property to sell. The fact that you will call cancel expireds, FSBOs, that you will knock doors if you have to. You will dress up in a monkey costume and dance in the street with a sign that says, I will find a home for you. You'll do anything it takes to help a buyer. The third thing is communication. The number one complaint about real estate professionals is they do not communicate enough. Your commitment is that I'm going to communicate every time something happens. By the way, soft sales pitch, that's what Brivity does for you. Every time you complete a task for a pending, every time you complete tasks for your clients, it sends an email out to them letting them know the 13 things you did today to help them with their dream of buying or selling. And the fourth thing you have to deliver is your experience. If you're a new agent, what you're going to talk about is the experience of your office, the power of all the agents behind you. If you're an experienced agent, don't be afraid to say, you know, I outsell the average agent. Average agent in our MLS does 2.9 properties, something like that. Don't be okay saying that I outsell the average agent by 10 times. You'd only have to sell 30 properties to do that, so that ain't rocket science. But it means something. And let them know that you have the ability to help them find vendors, lenders that are going to give them the best deal, inspectors that are going to find the most amount of things wrong, all those items. That is the value that buyers in this market are looking for. Now, in a recent study by a national finance firm, I got to hear them present in Manhattan at one of my favorite events, by the way, that's Inman Connect. The next one's in July or August in San Francisco, and I'll be there, so I think you guys should go. And I could probably get you guys out a discount code if you guys want to save some money. Is that over a 7-year term, it is 40% more expensive to rent a home compared to buying a home. It is 40% more expensive to rent a home compared to buying. So take how much ever their rent is. Let's say that it's $1,000. 40% more expensive would mean they're throwing away $400. You take $400 times 12, that's $5,000. In conversations with buyers, or here's what I want you guys, just look around, find a garbage can, look inside that garbage can and tell me, is there $5,000 sitting in that garbage can? I don't throw away $5,000. I don't throw away $5,000. I don't want you guys to. I don't want your clients to. And by renting, they're throwing away at least $5,000. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you like me to show you how to determine, or how to show buyers that it's actually cheaper to own, or it could actually be free to own compared to what they're paying rent? Anybody in the audience interested in this kind of stuff? Ladies and gentlemen, throw this in there. Type. Wake up. Oh my gosh. Look at all you people typing in there. Faster. Answer me. This is crazy. Crazy. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. When we looked at appreciation over a national, looking at all states in the United States, so I don't have the numbers for Canada and UK, apologize. But you guys, your market is doing awesome, so you don't need this stuff. Is that on average, properties have appreciated at 4% over the last 30 years. Now, when I bought my first home, the average appreciation was 7% over a 10-year period. Now, we had that big down market, so you got to take that into consideration. But look in your area, see what the appreciation was last year. In my area, it was nearly 10%. But let's just be pessimistic. If you're helping a buyer buy a $250,000 property and the appreciation is at 4%, that means in 1 year the property would be worth $10,000 more dollars. Now, have anybody in the audience ever found $10,000 in the garbage can? Are you kidding me? What? What? Now, the second thing is mortgage tax deductions. What do I mean? Is if somebody files an itemized tax return and they were to get a new mortgage for a home, and let's pretend that the balance of that mortgage was $250,000, and they paid a cheap interest, 4.5%. Their payment would be $15,201, nearly $1,266 per month. By the way, that's not too far off from what the average rents are. And at the end of the year, the ending balance on their loan would be 245,967, etc. You would be able to write off those interest, any points you paid on the initial mortgage, etc., and you would have a tax savings of $3,350. If you want to figure this out for each and every buyer, just Google mortgage tax deduction calculator. Just Google it, and you can put in whatever numbers you want, their interest rate, their balance, and it'll calculate this for you. Now, the difference is that this is not a tax deduction, ladies and gentlemen. Tax deductions reduce your taxable income. This allows you to directly reduce the amount of taxes that you have to pay. This is the number of actual less taxes. So this individual, this family that bought a brand new home, would have to pay $3,350 less in taxes this year. That's amazing. That's an extra $3,300. What would you guys on the call do if you had an extra $3,350 for free? For free, ladies and gentlemen, what would you buy? Type it in. Answer me. This is crazy. Somebody would buy a pony. Somebody said they'd have a party in their pants. Thanks, Christina. They would buy Brevity. Thank you. Kiss up. They have a vacation. They go on a cruise. Somebody said they'd take me out to dinner. Thanks, Bryce. Oh, it's a couple other answers that I can't actually say out loud. Thanks, Stephanie. You guys would die if you guys saw this. Anyway, let's carry on. Now, the next thing that you got to take into consideration when you own instead of renting is that the monthly payment doesn't go to some landlord that's making money off you. You actually pay down your mortgage balance. So on a $250,000 loan, at the end of 1 year, you would pay down that loan total, the principal, down to $245,967. And that equity that you would have generated after 1 year would be an extra $4,033. You guys know what I mean? Now, let's add this up. The annual savings would be that you had a total appreciation in what your property is worth of $10,000. The tax savings, where you would get an extra $3,350 back on your tax return, is $3,350. The paid equity, your earned equity that you paid off instead of paying rent, would be $4,033. That total increase in wealth or in cash given back to you is $17,383. $17,383. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now let's break that up monthly. The monthly savings would be that you would have appreciation of $833 per month. So every month that you own that home, based on a 4% appreciation, you would get $833 increase in net worth. Per month, you could get $279.16 in tax savings. And the paid in equity, how much you're paying yourself every month, would be $336.08. So the total per month would be $1,448.58. Now, I want to give you guys a couple tips about this, because what you can do is take that tax savings and make sure they run it by their accountant to see what it would really be a benefit to them, because we're not accountants, so we got to be careful making those claims. But they can actually go to their employer and says, because I'm buying a house, I will get an extra $3,300 back, which means I would like you to not take out $250 per month or not take out $200 a month. And when you do that, they get an extra couple $100 a month of spending power to make them feel good if their mortgage payment is $100 more or $200 more than what they've been used to paying. Now, this information This information is hugely valuable, and this should be part of your buyer consultation. Part of your buyer consultation. Now, let's move on. We've talked about the UVP. We've talked about the math of owning real estate. Let's talk about generating some leads. Is we're going to talk about, in this up market, what's the benefits of leads, listings, and leverage? What are your top sources of buyers? What are the lead generation strategies that you should be thinking about? Finding buyers online. We'll also talk about leveraging buyers and maybe building a team around them. Now, your UVP, as my friend April said, is your unique value proposition. Your unique value proposition. And as you guys want to, as you're going through the call, throw in your questions, and we'll be looking at those questions. I'll be trying to answer them when it comes in so that I can address it in my presentation, or I can address it at the end. So keep them coming in. And those of you that don't like me yelling, sorry. I'm kind of a loudmouth. Ask any people I work with. Let's keep going. So leads, listings, and leverage. When I started real estate, I actually started with leads because I knew how to generate leads online. And that's a fine way to do it. You can start with leads, then you can work them until you can't handle anymore, and then you can go get a buyer's agent or a showing agent to help you, and then at some point maybe you can focus on listings. But the correct way to do it would be to start with listings, because every time you take a listing, true or false, you would generate sign calls, and those sign calls would be called leads. True? Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Trish. Thanks, Nick. You would also increase the size of your sphere, which should increase the total number of leads you have. True or false? You would also increase the amount of internet leads you get. You would also have an open house to do, so more people would come to it, so you'd have leads. Listings are by far the best generator of quality buyer leads that need the least converting, because people are calling to see it, or they're calling with a question about a property. So what happens is, if you focus your efforts on generating listings, getting home valuation leads, calling canceled expires, talking to your sphere about getting listings, etc., what happens is that you end up with more leads you can personally handle. And if you have more leads than you can personally handle, what do? Well, you got to get leverage. Well, what would that leverage be, ladies and gentlemen? That leverage would be things like an admin. That leverage would be things like a buyer's agent, like a showing agent. These are all things that would just give you leverage and give your time back. Now, you can spend that time with your honey bunny, with your family, hitting those kids' baseball games or concerts or dances or whatever they do, and that'll give you more time to work on your business. Well, a business person works on the business, not in the business. But if I had more leverage, the first thing that I would do is I would work on generating more listings. More listings, ladies and gentlemen. Because if I got more listings, I would generate more what? Hello? People? Audience? Type in. Wake up. We're still here. Don't make me yell. I will yell. You generate more leads. And if you had more leads, you would need more what? Hello? You need more leverage. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Pat. And if you had more leverage, you'd have more money and more time to generate what? Ladies and gentlemen, listings, or vacation, or take a day off. Or imagine if you could go on vacation and you didn't have to look at your email, or you didn't have to answer your phone. That's a life worth living, my friends. That is a life worth living. So when this call, and all my calls, we're not talking about making a lot of money to the sacrifice of your health or to the sacrifice of your relationships. We're talking about doing both. You can have quality relationships, you can have a good health, and you can make a lot of money. Now, Let's carry on, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to take a look at some of the top sources of buyers that I consider to be my top 8, and then some other sources of buyers. So I like to make sure that my bread and butter is working. So my bread and butter is working our sphere for buyers, farming for buyers, hosting open house for buyers, working sign calls, leveraging the search engines like Google and doing pay-per-click, getting leads from Craigslist, working social media, and also just outward marketing, print, radio, etc. Now that would be the bread and butter of most of the successful agents' businesses in the nation. Well, the next thing is that you got to work the other sources. The other sources would be classes. I'm going to teach first-time homebuyer classes, or I'm going to teach how to invest in real estate, etc. Door knocking, builders, banks. I got a lot of friends that list builder properties for free in exchange for all the buyer leads and the ability to market those properties. Working with banks that refer out their loan pre-qualifications to a lender. And one of my dear friends, Kenny Kloss, down in Phoenix, he has this idea called the road back home, where he helps people that have been in foreclosure or been in short sale get back to home ownership. He teaches you that about it in his designation program called CLME. It teaches you how to farm, but he also talks about the road back home. You could work auctions, bringing buyers to the auctions. You could work with attorneys to have them refer you buyers. Probably the best source of that would be working with divorce attorneys, because every listing you get a guaranteed 2 buyers, if you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. And you can work first-time home buyers. Maybe you're calling rental areas, you're door-knocking rental areas, you're door-tagging rental areas, you're hosting seminars on first-time home buyers. You can put a focus towards first-time home buyers as much as you want. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Tell me which ones of these are your favorites. Type that into the chat box, but do it fast, faster, faster. Ladies and gentlemen, faster. I got lots of answers coming in. Sphere, open houses, builders, search engines, sign calls, farming, door knocking, etc. Here's the issue that you come into, is if you only have one primary source of business, what happens when the market changes? Remember in 2005 when we sold all our friends' homes, and then in 2006 they were all ticked off at us because we sold them homes at the height of the market? Or when we only worked with builders and all of a sudden all the builders went away, or we were only working with short sales or foreclosures and all those went away, or we had a big online business and all of a sudden Craigslist gets rid of the links, those dogs, or the search engines changed their algorithm that no longer were showing up. Are you kidding me? You got to have 8 legs to your chair. You got to have 8 legs to your chair. Because if 1 or 2 legs get knocked out, you can still survive, and that's what your family needs you to do. Great comments, great questions coming in, my friends. So let's talk about the first one, work in your sphere. Now, how do you generate buyers from your sphere? Well, you could do what the normal agent does, and how they work their sphere is they sit around on the YouTubes and the Facebook, and they wait for somebody to call them, and that's called work in your sphere. Now, what I would like to encourage you to do is have a systematic approach to marketing people that you already know. Now, a big difference in what I teach and maybe what others teach is I consider the sphere people I know, people I do business with, my past clients, vendors, affiliates, all those people. They all get in my sphere. I don't separate them. Now, the next thing that I do is I decide how I'm going to touch them. And the way that I decide how I'm going to touch them is based on, are they an A-plus client, an A, a B, or a C? An A-plus in my world probably there's only 25 of them. An A in my world, there's probably only 100 or 200 of them. In B's, there could be 200 to 400. In C's, there could be 250 or 10,000. The A-pluses are the people that you would invite to your house. These are the people that come to the barbecue, you go on a trip with, they would come to Thanksgiving dinner, those sorts. The A's are people that you like seeing, you see them a couple times a year, they They know you by name. They would interrupt somebody and say, hey, you should call Ben if you're talking about real estate. And these people are going to send you 1 referral a year, 2 referrals a year. A pluses will send you 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, etc. The Bs are people if they were directly asked, hey, who's the one person that you would recommend if I decided to sell my house, that they would say your name. And the Cs get your information, but they don't really know you. What you have to do is that you have to decide how many times you're going to email them, how many times you're going to mail them, how many times you're going to call them, how many times you're going to visit them, how many events you're going to do. Events include in-person meetings, coffee, lunch, having them over to your house, barbecues, special team events that you do, etc., and social media. So here's what I recommend for A pluses and A's. Number 1, you email them twice a month. One of those comes from Happy Grasshoppers, automated content they create for me. The other one is something that I create, market updates, see what your home is worth, free list of foreclosures, something real estate related, this is what's happening with mortgages, etc. I mail them all once a month. I call them all once a month. I visit them all 3 times a year. Visit and events are combined, so between events and one-on-ones, it would be a total of 3 times a year. Now, social media, I try to touch them all once a month. That would be liking their photo, commenting on something on Facebook, sending them a message, chatting with them on Facebook, endorsing them on LinkedIn, tweeting them, retweeting them, any sort of interaction where you can bring your face, in front of these individuals. Now, the Bs and Cs would get some difference, some amount less than your A's and A pluses. So think about it. What are you going to do? What's your plan? And the last step is to figure out who in your organization should be doing it. Is it something that you need to do as an individual, or is it something you could have an intern, an assistant, have somebody at my outdesk, virtual assistants do it? Maybe you could hire a full-time assistant. Maybe you could leverage your office to send the mail or a title company, etc. Figure out what you can do to leverage this, so the only thing that you have to do is visit them and call them. Everything else should be done by somebody else. Free interns, part-time employees, full-time employees, etc. So when you add this up, it equals 63 touches in a year for about 200 people. 63 touches. Now, the difference is it's not annoying, and every time I deliver value. So imagine that every time you reach out to these individuals, you were sending them a $20 bill or a $100 bill. How many people in your database would be upset if you handed them a $20 bill or a $100 bill? You guys can practice with me. Call me up and say, I'm going to send you a $20 bill, and y'all see how I react. You know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? How does this sound to you guys for a plan to work your sphere and work your database? This is something that a team should be doing for all their past clients in their database, and this is something that each individual member of a team should be doing to work their own sphere and build their own database. In my opinion, it's the team's responsibility to give these individuals the tools to do it. What emails to send, what mail to send, what scripts to call. The new Brevity release, by the way, will have a list of our scripts pre-written, so that you can pull what script do you want to use for any calls, any text. It'll have mail examples, and it'll have email templates preloaded. All those things will give you guys so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, the next place to get business is open houses. The problem is that half of the nation say that open houses don't work, and the other half say that they're their bread and butter. I brought on this great agent last year who did $600,000 in commissions his first year in the business, and all he did was open houses. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, So let's talk about open houses. When somebody comes into open house, kind of we'll role play what happens. Hey, thanks for coming in today. People that come into my open houses usually come in for 1 of 2 reasons. Number 1, they're curious what their own home is worth, or number 2, they're considering buying. Which one are you? Great. Now, would you mind the seller's request that I had everybody sign in? And if you signed in, I'll make sure that I send you a list of all the sold properties in the area so you can figure out what your home's worth. Or I'll give you a list of all the homes for sale in the area, including some foreclosures, short sales, and Best Buy properties. And I'd love to send that out to you, and I'll get it to you by tonight or tomorrow. Now, I've also included some of these lists with me, and what I'd like to do is I have an hour blocked for the right person right after this open house where I can go show you 3 or 4 properties. How about I give you this list, you look at them, and maybe even drive by a couple, and in an hour when I'm done with this open house, I'll just meet up with you and take you in a few of those. And of course, free of charge, just something I like to do. The goal of an open house should be to get an appointment after the open house. You guys understand? It's not to host an open house and follow up with them next week. You go into an open house with the mindset of when I'm done, I'm going on a listing appointment or I'm showing homes. And if you did that and all you did was a 2-hour open house, but you could get an appointment in 2 hours, you can do shorter open houses. I don't care how many people came to your open house. I care how many people you could set an appointment with during that time to go do something right away. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, the different approach to open houses. A different approach to open houses. Now let's talk about prospecting. What could we do to make phone calls to generate more buyer leads for our business? Well, to do that, you'd have to have some scripts. So some of the scripts that I really love using would be this one. Would you buy a home today if you could? Now, ladies and gentlemen, type into the chat box, let me know what are the key words in this script. What are the key words in this script? Hurry up, chop chop. Yep, a lot of people are saying buy if you could today. Okay, so it's the urgency of now, and it's taken away, but I can't. So I go to you guys and I say, let me ask you a question. Would you buy a home today if you could? Well, they say, well, my credit's not good, or I don't have enough for a down payment, or my lease is not up. So I'm not asking that. Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you one more time. If none of those things were an issue, would you buy a home today if you could? And they're going to probably say, yeah, I would do it. And I say, great. So tell me why you can't. Well, they say, well, I have a lease on my rental. Let me ask you a question. If I could get somebody to re-rent that property or get your landlord to let you out early, would you buy a home today if you could? Well, they might say, yeah, but I don't have enough money for a down payment. And I say, let me ask you another question. If I could get you a mortgage with only 3% down or maybe 0% down in rural housing areas, would you buy a home today if you could? And I could get the sellers to pay all your closing costs. Well, I guess I would, but I don't know if I can get approved, or I don't know if my credit's good. Well, let me ask you another question. If I could have somebody fix your credit or have a lender talk to you, and you might be surprised if you get pre-approved, would you buy a home today if you could? Would you buy a home today if you could? Now, a next script that I use would be circle prospecting. And you could call through a whole neighborhood and say things like, this is Ben Kinney from XYZ Realty. I'm calling today to let you know that I have a list of what I consider to be the 5 best priced properties in town. These properties are the ones that are going to sell fast, that are maybe 5, 10, 15% discount off what the market is. So you're going to make an extra $5 or $10 or $20,000. These are short sales, foreclosures, bank owns, estate sales, motivated clients. And I was seeing if you knew anybody that would like to take advantage of saving some money. Now, how are these scripts relating to you guys so far? Hello? Type in. What do you guys think? Are they too pushy, too salesy? Are they sexy? What do you think? What do you think? What are you thinking? Now, another one you can use on anybody you meet is, who do you know that I should know? Now, Tina, my friend, Let's do something that isn't quite as salesy. You got an internet person that registers on your website, and you call them up and they say, whoa, 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 Tina, I'm not exactly interested in buying today. I need to wait. It could be 6 months, a year, it could be 3 years. And what you could say is, no problem. Since I got you on the phone, could I ask you a favor? Uh, we have a bunch of properties we've identified that are good deals, and I know that you're not ready to buy now, and I'd love to be your realtor in a year or 2 years or any of those sort of things. But these properties aren't going to be around next week. So I got to ask you, who do you know that I should know that might be willing to look at homes right away and would like to save a bunch of money? It's not aggressive, it's gentle. Well, if you want to be more gentle, Tina, my friend, let me ask you this one. And Tina, I want you to ask me that, or answer this. If you were talking to individuals and you simply said, what are your real estate related plans for the year? It's a good question. It's not salesy. It's not pushy. What it does is it simply gets people thinking if they're going to do something real estate related. So what I do, I was walking the dog the other day. I ran into a person. I said, are you a neighbor? He said, yeah, I live around the corner. And I said, great. Let me ask you another question. What do you do for work? And he says, oh, I'm a doctor at the hospital here in Bellingham. I said, wow. And he said, what do you do? I said, I'm in real estate. He said, oh, interesting. And I said, since I have you, let me ask you, what are your real estate related plans for the year? And you know what he said? He said, if I could find a lot in this neighborhood, we'd love to build, but none of them ever come on the market. So I was able to say, would it be okay if I called around the neighborhood, looked at some off-market properties, maybe sent a mailer to everybody to see if there was a property available? You can make your script sound personal and non-salesy. Now, Tina, where'd you go? What do you think? Come on, answer me. Get back on here. Is that a script that you can imagine yourself using? Tina, sorry. There we go. There we go. Now, let's keep going. Now, once you learn your scripts, you can have conversations with individuals. You can prospect cold leads that you've never, from Mojo Sales, you could just call a whole neighborhood or a whole area. Or you could use those scripts on your sphere. You could use them on internet leads. You could use them on people that you met at open houses, but you got to master them. Now, to be successful online, though, you need to have a website that captures buyer information. Now, you got to have an IDX website, and there's a variety out there at different prices. There's EDGE Pro that Keller Williams agents can get, and I'm sure major franchises provide a simple solution to everybody. Or there's some more advanced features, some more advanced websites. And my favorites are probably Real Geeks. Super cool company, $149 a month. You get a custom IDX and multiple pages, and you can customize your content. You can see an example of one of mine at briorealty.com. Or Boomtown, which is designed for agents that have a bigger budget, that would like the ability to manage team members, etc. And it's quite expensive. It's about $1,500 a month. Although we normally get lender partners, so it doesn't cost us barely anything. But what happens on these websites, Real Geeks or Boomtown or EDGE Pro, is the consumer gets to a website. Most likely you land them on an interior page of a property. When they look at this property, they see the photographs, the price, neighborhood information, beds, baths, acreage, map locations, local pics. They might see Google Street View, all that sort of stuff. But when they try to look at the next property, it asks them to register. And when they register, they actually become a lead in your database. Now, in my experience, out of every 100 people that visit my website, about 13 of those actually become a lead for us. 13. So all I'd have to do is go to Google and say, I want 100 clicks. And I know that I got 13 leads that month. 13 leads for 100, for 100 clicks. That might cost me, I don't know, $1 each. Now, you got to have a tool like this in place if you want to generate leads online, because you can't do it without it. You can't send them to your pretty websites or your pretty pages or the ones that talk about you, because consumers don't care about you. And if you think back a slide or two, what you're going to realize is that it was really hard to find my information. Now, let's keep going. Now, here's some lead sources. And this is actual leads that I generated last month. So let's look at the first column. These are the leads. I got 439 buyer leads from Facebook last month. I got 531 from AdWords. I got additional seller ones. I got organic ones, etc. These are all ones that I directed traffic from those sources directly to my website. Now, everything in the next three columns are additional leads that were automatically imported that we got from other sources. Call-ins, canceled listings, sphere of influence, Real Geeks, Zillow web referrals, other websites, open houses. These are all additional people, and there's another 500 there. So we increased our database size of buyers by about 1,700. This doesn't include the hundreds and hundreds of home valuation leads, because we manage that through Brivity, not through our buyer website. Now, these are the actual numbers that I use to run my team, and with these numbers, you know, monthly, this is what we use to get 650 sales and 4 million in commission and 150 million in volume. It's not super complicated. You don't need a ton of leads. You need about 30 leads per month per agent on your team. 30 leads per month. And the tools that I've been using to manage these things is Real Geeks and Boomtown. And I actually have both of them. You'll see my Boomtown site at homeforinvestment.com. And you'll see my my Real Geeks website at briorealty.com. And those are just different tools that I use, so I can have two different websites online creating a presence for the same Google search, etc. Now, the way you get traffic to your website is you can take all the SEO classes, you can learn to do SEO, but it's a long-term strategy. That's where you're trying to get your website to be liked by Google so it'll show up in the results. It takes a year or 2 years. It took us a long time. Now, with AdWords, what happens is you can set it up right away so that your websites come to the top of the search. And you decide how much money you're willing to pay per click, pay, PR, click. And then every time somebody clicks on it, you get charged a little bit of money, and you know that out of every 100 clicks, you're going to get 10 to 13 leads. What you do on AdWords is you decide what words you want to be found for. You could set up AdWords by going to adwords.com and have leads coming in today. And as much as you're willing to spend is how many leads you need to get. Now, we decide to cap our AdWords at 500, 600 leads because we don't need more than that. You know, as we hire more team members or expand into new areas, we need some additional monies. So then we'll spend more. We play red light, green light, turn the faucet on, turn the faucet off with these sort of systems because we can control our spend. Now, the next place we've been really successful at generating both listings leads, which we talked about on the last call, I mean hundreds and hundreds a month off of Facebook ads, but also you could see it was, I think, I don't remember the number, 400 or 500 buyer leads that came in from Facebook last month because we simply set up buyer ads on facebook.com/ads and also did sponsored posts. We're sending them to links of properties. We're sending them to the home page. We're sending them to specific lead capture pages. We're just getting them to our website. And the Facebook platform, the ads, is actually at this point considerably cheaper per lead than AdWords. So if that's something you're interested in, we can do it for you if you're interested in Brivity leads, or we can teach you how to do it and you can do it on your own. We don't care, whatever you want. Now there's all these other sources of places online. You could do Craigslist, or you could do portals, or so on. But there's also some offline places. You could do direct mail, where you're mailing all the rentals in the area. You could do print advertising, where you're running property ads in the newspapers, etc. Of course, some of my favorites is signs and flyers, because you should be able to get a buyer consultation out of every 11 buyer appointments. And you can do text services, where people text for information about a property. And we'll be talking to you more about text services probably on the next call or two. Now, when converting leads, what I want you to think about is is first, what does that look like? What is your goal? So how many leads are you going to generate per month? And then how many closings are you going to get? Well, let's start by why you don't get enough closings. Well, you or your team don't communicate fast enough. What we've learned by an MIT study is that if you respond in 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes, you're 30 times more likely to get a hold of somebody. If you respond in 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes, you're 100 times more likely to get a hold of somebody. So put down your sandwich and make a quick call back. If you're out on a showing, throw your phone up in the air, put a video on there, and just say, hey, this is Ben Kinney. I wanted to let you know that I'm a real person, and I just got your question, or I just saw that you registered on my website, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to you when I'm done showing these clients some of these foreclosures and short sales, some of the best price properties in town, and just see what you're interested in. I look forward to talking to you, and if you want, text me right back. And then I text that video to them, and I can do that while I'm showing, and I just let my customers know that from time to time I'm going to send a quick video to people letting them know I can't talk, and I want to ask your permission. Is that okay? Another thing is we stop communicating. We don't communicate enough for a long enough time consistently with the same message. And we aren't looking for buy signs. There is amazing buy signs for buyers if you have the right website. See a Real Geeks website or eEdge Pro or Market Leader Pro or Boomtown, they should be able to tell you when somebody looked at a property. They should be able to tell you how many times they looked at a property. They should be able to tell you if they printed a flyer, if they forwarded it to a friend, if they calculated a mortgage. All those are buy signs, and all those are reasons to call. You would call those individuals and say, hey, I saw you looked at this property, 1234 Main Street a couple times, and funny enough, I'm going to be out in that area later, and I want to know if you wanted to join me and look inside, or if I could take some extra pictures for you. Just let me know and get back to me. Another reason is we send junk spam. Buyers want to see properties or information about specific things they look at. They don't want to see your list of 12 things to do when buying a home. They don't like that junk. Or maybe we can't build enough rapport over the phone. Now, maybe why your team isn't is they're saying the wrong things. They don't practice scripts. They don't email or call enough. Maybe you're giving them too many leads and you're overfilling their wheelbarrow. They only email them. You don't inspect what you expect. Or, ladies and gentlemen, you hired the suck. You can't make a sucky individual, an unaccountable individual, an unmotivated individual be motivated just by giving them more leads. All you end up with is leads and cost being wasted. I think you're just throwing money away. And once you realize, write this down if you guys can, when you make your life about the who instead of the what, your potential becomes unlimited. When you make your life about the who instead of the what, your life potential becomes unlimited. Imagine that. Imagine if you made your life about the who. Now, the goal that I look for is if I had 100 leads today, ladies and gentlemen, I would get 1 to 2 closings in the first 6 months. With that initial 100 leads, I would expect to get another 1 to 2 closings in the following 6 months. So in a year period, I would expect a 2 to 4% conversion rate, depending on who in my organization I gave those leads to and if they followed up with them. In the following year, I would expect another 1 or more closings. So in a 2-year period, you might have as low as 3% or as high as 5 or 6% conversion rate. Now, what I'm talking about here is internet leads or cold leads. Now, of course, your conversion rates could be higher for open houses or your sphere or sign calls, etc. I'm just trying to give you a benchmark if you're going to build a business through marketing and or online advertising, what you should expect. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that it helps you guys. I hope that helps you guys. Now, when converting leads, you got to understand that not everybody communicates the same way you do. That people expect phone calls, text messages, emails, video emails, social media. You can chat with them on Facebook. You could direct mail. You could door knock. You could peek in their window. You could write notes in their car. Whatever kind of creepy stuff you want to do. People like to be communicated with in different ways. And if you have a kid and you're on this call today, what's the best way to communicate with them? Ladies and gentlemen, answer me. Answer me. Oh, text. Text, text. Everybody says text. Social media. Wow. Instagram, that's funny. Somebody said yell. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You got to communicate with the generation you're working with. Some people prefer a letter. Some people prefer a call or a text, etc. So try them all. The one thing that I would be, interested in today is that a few years ago, everybody was mailing, everybody was doing print advertising, everybody was sending just listed, just sold, everybody was doing all these things. And your message was diluted. In today's world, so many agents ran out of money or they didn't manage their finances. They're too scared to get back into it, so nobody's there. That's when you guys get back into it. That's why we're having so much success with just listed, just solds, calls, and text. Why we're back into farming and why we're doing limited print advertising, because nobody else is doing it. The people are way more aggressive in pricing for you, and you have no competition. Go everywhere that there's no competition. Now, let's talk about the 10 days of pain quickly. And this is a process that I wrote a long time ago that's helped, thousands and thousands of agents across the nation convert internet leads. And let's talk about day one. Day one, you complete the lead validation checklist. Is it an active phone number? Is it a correct email address? Do you have the right name, etc.? You just do some research. Then you make the introductory call. If they don't answer, you leave a voicemail. Always ask for them by first name. Hey, this is John. I saw that you visited my website. Would you give me a quick call? I had a question for you. Or you can not even say that. You can say, hey, this is John, looking for Dan. Dan, would you call me back? I had a quick question for you. And then hang up. Then what I do is I note the times and what I did on my lead sheets or in my software, so I know if I called everybody at 9 a.m. and they never answer, that I need to make my one lead gen night a week or my every other weekend morning to call those people I couldn't get a hold of. When I send a quick email, I mail a note card, and I send them a text. Hey, I tried calling you. Let me know if you can get back to me, blah, blah, blah. Now, day two, what I do is I make a follow-up phone call. If no answer, I leave a voicemail. I always ask by first name only. I note times, etc. I send another different email from one of our templates. Those are all loaded into, or will be loaded into Brivity. I message them on social media sites. I'll look for them on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, etc. I'll send them a text, and I might send them a video email so they can see it's just not an automated system, that I'm a real person. And I'll just say sometimes, hey, this is Ben. Saw that you registered on my website. I wanted to reach out to you. I called you. I texted you. I emailed you. I don't know if you love me, but I want to let you know that I'm a real person. And I love to communicate and work with you, but if I'm bothering you, let me know. And I don't want to take additional time away from my family, and I don't want you to take time away from your family if you're not interested. But if you are, I think I could help you. So please call me back. Just make it lovey. Now, day 3, day 4, day 5, days 1 through 10, they're all like this. You just pick a variety of these items, pick 3 of them a day, and do it. The reason that we do this over 10 days is the National Association of Realtors said that the average person worked 2 weeks on their own before contacting an agent. The average person said that. Now, the way that we start our day is we practice our scripts daily. We do it from 8:30 to 8:50. We yell power up 3 times before we start and after we end. We practice with people and partners. We choose only a few scripts to practice all month. We practice with emotions. We'll say it happy. We'll say it angry. We'll yell. We'll do it normal. We don't practice scripts for mean people. We practice not working with mean people. And we end the day with our gratitude box, what we're grateful for. And we do that every single morning. Now, beyond normal scripts, you got to think about, what are your agents doing? What's their volume? Is it too high, ladies and gentlemen? Is it too low? Are you talking too fast? Are you talking too slow? Are you using slang? Hey, what's up? You want to buy a house or what? Is it proper? Is it too proper? Are you asking questions? Or are you making statements? Don't say, hey, are you interested in buying a house? You say, hey, I see you're interested in buying a house. I want to talk about what you need. You can smile. Are you being too aggressive or too gentle? Are you using a little sexy voice? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Late Night Love Songs coming to you live. You know what I mean? And you got to have these normal scripts, these scripts that you practice, some of which I shared with you today. Real estate related plans, who do you know, Best Buy scripts, specific properties. You got to have different scripts that you can use. Now, what we learned is you got to build trust. Using the word trust in a conversation increased the percentage of honest answers by over 85%. You know, I trust that you're just an upfront, honest individual. Just by saying that, you increase the percentage of honest answers by 85%. Blows me away. An FBI study said that if you placed your hand on somebody's elbow or shoulder when asking a question, you had a 300% increase in telling the truth. Can you believe that? 300%. You know, people, when you survey consumers, they said they didn't trust people that wore too much perfume or cologne. Or, sorry, gentlemen, men that wore jewelry, or women that wore a lot of jewelry. People that avoided eye contact. Individuals that show up late. People with a mustache and no beard. Sorry, Gary Keller. That didn't, and people that didn't get a demo of brevity. We never trust them. Now, in the end, what you're doing is you're leveraging leads. You're using leads to create more leverage so that you have more income to invest in listings, so that you have more income to hire a telemarketer, so that you have more income to get more leads, etc. And the cycle goes on and on. Now, what you got to do is you got to build a team. And I want you guys to think about building a team because you owe it to your family. You owe it to your goals. Now, you could build a team within a team and actually make more money than 99% of the teams out there. Or you could build your own team, whatever you want. But that starts first with you, the leadership. You get to, let's say, 36 transactions a year, whatever. Then you hire an administrator. The next thing you hire is a buyer's agent. And hopefully the next thing you hire is a showing agent. Then maybe you hire more buyer's agents, etc. You let buyer's agents get showing agents if they can close 3 or 4 a month. Because if they're closing 3 or 4 a month by themselves, they can close 8 to 10 a month with a showing agent. And then maybe the last thing you're going to hire is an inside salesperson. An inside salesperson, ISA. Also could be called a telemarketer. But Gary Keller says that you only need 3 hires to make $1 million a year. 3 hires. An admin, a buyer's agent, and a listing agent. And what he means by that is it may actually take additional people, but you don't have to be the one that does it. That admin will hire the next admin. Your head buyer's agent will hire the rest of the buyer's agents. Your head listing agent will build the rest of the team, etc. And the only thing you got to think about is how to compensate them. What are you going to pay the buyer's agents? What are you going to pay the showing agents? What are you going to pay the telemarketers, etc.? And I'll do that on an additional call. What I expect out of my team is that they practice scripts, that they follow up with leads appropriately, that they hit a certain level of production, and most of all, you can see that I did 1, 1, 2, 3. That's great proofreading of Ben. Is that they have the right culture and attitude. They are team players. They want to succeed with you, not without you. Those are normally selfish individuals that can't see that their success could also succeed with somebody else. I'm talking people that want to win with you. They want to go to the Super Bowl and they want a ring, and they're okay if everybody else on the team gets a ring too. And they have an attitude that helps other people, that they show up on time, that they're committed, that they're accountable. You can't make people accountable, but you sure in heck can hire accountable people. Now, what did we learn today? We learned how to generate buyer leads, some examples. We learned some scripts, how to build a team around it. And we're able to do this call because of Happy Grasshopper and what they've done for us and how they've helped my business. And if you guys want a discount or a deal, go to happygrasshopper.com/Ben Kinney. And Dan doesn't pay us anything for this. He just supports us. So I'm happy for you guys to check him out. Now, I want you guys to consider doing a demo of brevity. If you want to do a demo of brevity, we can also talk about some of the new features that are coming. One of the most important things is we're increasing the price of brevity after the new features are released, but anybody that's a prior customer is grandfathered. So keep that in mind if you want to save some significant money. If you're interested in leads, but you don't want to generate themselves because you know you're not going to do it, then maybe talk to us about generating some leads for you. Or if you want to get a seller site like Sue Adler and Matt Fedek and Tim Heil, let us design one for you. Or if you just want a valuation site to generate more listing leads, we can do that too. I just ask that you reach out to us and let us explain things like how could a city guide help you generate vendor advertising money greater than your entire marketing and lead generation budget.